Good evening, everyone. Thank you for our sustainability members here tonight, and thank you for the public who will be watching this later. I first want to start off with actually just because it's gonna be Mother's Day weekend, so to all of our mothers on our sustainability committee and as well as Rye Brook, including and all throughout the world, including my own mom, happy Mother's Day. But we do have two new sustainability committee members who I do want to give an opportunity to introduce themselves. So I'll start with Jeremy because I see you here first. So Jeremy, want to tell us a little about yourself as well as to everyone who will be watching this later, as well as to your fellow residents.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. So as you guys know, I am Jeremy Shi. I'm a sophomore from Brook High School. Yeah, 10th grade. Um, I'm one of the newest members of the Sustainability Committee who believes that they could make a further positive impact on the environment by doing this. That's why I decided to join.
Thank you. And just one thing I want to add, Jeremy, I know speaking with Julie Hensley that you may but will be like the likely the next president of Roots and Shoots next year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not the president. I actually signed up for the vice president position, and I'm actually giving my speech tomorrow.
Hey, nice. Congrats and wish you best of luck. And
Thank you.
turn over Corey.
Hi, my name's Corey Stevenson. I'm a little bit older than Jeremy. I have lived here for about 12 years in Rye Brook. I actually have a sophomore and a sixth grader. And I'm very excited to join the committee. I've been active in the PTA for many years, and I'm probably going to be on the school board in a couple months. So pending the formal results of the election in another week or two. So thank you for letting me join.
Thank you, Corey, and then thank you for all your work in the PTA as well as and best of luck on the school board. As I know, we were talking about it before we started this recording, but it is even though it's an unpaid job, it's a very hardworking one, and it's a very difficult one, nonetheless. And definitely wish you all the best and thank you for the service to Rye Brook. Even though I don't live in Rye Brook, it's still I consider it my home away from home because oftentimes I spend more time in Rye Brook than I do in your town where I live. So thank you both of you as well as everybody here again for all the service that you all do for the village of Rye Brook. So now I will of course turn it over to our lovely chair Bridget Dix to kickstart our agenda.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed some of your introductions. I think I got the two new people. I don't know if everyone introduced themselves or if it was just, okay. I'm Bridget. Nice to meet you. So I think we're going to start with old business today. Oh, my screen just opened. Let me shrink it down again. Greg, do you want to go over? I unfortunately could not make Ashley Waldy Day. So Ashley was a member of our committee who unfortunately passed away. So we had a day dedicated to her, and I heard it was beautiful and amazing. I unfortunately had to be in Pennsylvania, so I could not be there, but Greg was there, Robin was there, and hopefully a few other people. So I'll let you describe what happened.
Sure. So do a quick short recap. So we did something a little bit unusual that we typically don't do in Arbor Day, is that we did a kind of a three event series with, of course, the village. With each year, what we typically do, we typically do in the morning, is that we always do a tree planting as what is required to adhere to the Arbor and Tree City Day requirements. But we did it in collaboration with also with the town of Rye as well as the Blind Brook School District, considering that all three of these entities were a huge part of Ashley's life. So we definitely wanted to kind of see how we can combine all these different facets of her life of service into one, and everything definitely worked out, I think, better than what we could hope for. So we started off at the Ridge Street School, the new greenhouse, followed by going to the town of Rye for their new microforest they're in the process of establishing. And then we ended off with in Rye Hills Park, right next to Crawford Park, where we did our tree planting in memory of Ashley. And then we did have a little reception afterwards at the Crawford Park Mansion. But it was definitely, and as Bridget said, it was a very nice day. We had the perfect weather. We had a great turnout. We had really good speakers. And I do think that it was a great way to give her a proper send off. And, we're all going to miss her terribly. And then her loss is definitely a huge one in Rye Brook. But I would at least take solace in the fact knowing that that she was loved by many and that she definitely leaves a legacy behind that is going to be felt for many years to come.
Yeah. Catherine gave a lovely speech. She worked with Ashley. She was on this committee for a while. She brought the recycle bins to Ridge Street, and all of that in the lunchroom, which was definitely a thankless endeavor that she and Catherine and other parents in the PTA worked on, and made children aware of how much waste they put out in lunch. And it was, she had a tremendous impact. I was impressed with how many of the dignitaries um, were there. Shelley Mayer, George Latimer, um, David Heiser as acting mayor for the day. I know that's not the official title, but Jason Klein couldn't make it. And Stephen
Otis.
Otis, thank you.
So I was
And
something.
yeah, it's rare that you get that kind of a turnout. That's the kind of impact that she had in a very positive way. And she was president of the school board. And did it, I must say, and I'm saying this both as a community member and as a teacher, and as a former parent. My children graduated a long time ago, that she did it with a lot of dignity and class. So definitely an inspiration to everybody. It was a lovely day.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing on that too. It's just I definitely want to thank my own village staff that I work with, as well as the town of Rye and Blind Brook School District the staff as well, for helping us make this day come together. I know it started with this group, our own idea, and then I reached out to the town and then school district, and then we were able to work very well together. So I really want to thank everybody who helped make this happen.
Yeah, amazing event. Thank you everyone that went and supported it and helped. Thank you, Greg, for making it happen. So thank you again. She was an amazing person. Definitely. I wish I could have been there, but I'm glad I could hear about it from you guys. So thanks again. So if we don't have anything else to add to that, I'll move on to the next order of business. This is old business as well. This is our seat exchange, which we've done now for, I guess is it a couple of years now? I know we've had probably 4 of them at this point. And this is the first time Robin attended. So I don't know if you want to describe it as like a new person, because I feel like I always describe it. So maybe it'd be good to have a different point of view.
It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend doing it. I definitely learned more than I taught. I wanted to make it very clear, especially people that knew me as a teacher and as a science teacher. I had no idea what to recommend or any of these seeds or anything. But Kiki was amazing, who is the gardener extraordinaire. Bridget, you were very helpful. I love your your pot making, that grinder thing that we were making little pots for people out of recyclable paper. And I thought that would be something that maybe we could do at the Rye Brook birthday party. It was really it was great meeting people, mostly people from Portchester. We might want to talk a little bit about our outreach for the seed swap, because I do think that there are gardeners in Rye Brook as well who, for whatever reason, were not getting the message that it was a good, fun event, but it really was. I recommend everyone do at least one at some point.
Yeah, and some years, it's a mixed bag, and I definitely feel like we should try to put up, if we can, get like posters up at some key places around town. I do feel like we get a lot of foot traffic from people that happen to already be at the library, which I feel like is I feel like at some points, depending on who's doing classes there and what's happening, it could be more Portchester residents. It could be, I don't really know. But there have been times we even have people that are from like other towns. They're not even from Portchester or Rye Brook, and they come from like Sleepy Hollow and wherever. So it's kind of interesting to see who comes. But we had to do it indoors this time because there was some rain that morning. So we usually get even more people when we do it out front, because then we have people that see the poster or the signs, and they like stop just to come to it because they are driving by, because it's really nice since it's off the main road. So we get a lot of people that are like going to the bus or going wherever. So it's nice to talk to people that might not, be as, into native plants yet or into sustainability yet, but it's a good intro because we're giving them something that's free, something that's beautiful that they can grow. And then we've had them come back and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, like, it happened, like it bloomed. And so they're so excited. So I
But
feel like
it's not really that they weren't bringing seeds to swap.
Mhm.
Most people were just coming for free seeds.
Yeah, and we do have some people that bring things, but also me and Kiki, we have so many seeds from our own gardens that it doesn't really matter. So we always tell people, we're like, it's okay if you don't have anything, it's fine. And we encourage people for the future. But I definitely think, yeah, outreach is great to try to do more of that and advertise it as much as we can. But it is always a fun and it's always a successful event no matter what, I feel like. Because there's really, you can't go wrong with it. But I'm sure at some point we could hopefully get even more people. So thank you so much for coming to Robin. It was good to have you there. And you're a
Fun.
really big help. And a lot of people were happy to get your advice, even though you didn't, like you said, you didn't know.
My advice was go talk to Kiki or Bridget.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully we'll be doing another one of those in the fall. We do one in spring, one in fall. When I last talked to Kiki, she said, I think she had mentioned doing one in October. So hopefully we'll be able to do that again. And obviously no reason why we shouldn't, but we'll start to talk with her and Port Chester to see when we can do another hopefully Saturday date, indoor outdoor. We just kind of have to see when the library is available usually, and kind of Greg facilitates that for us. So we'll see, and then we'll announce that once we have some sort of date. So
Bridget,
oh,
just
go ahead.
directly want to just thank you again for you and Kiki for taking like the lead in that event. And of course, I just want to thank the library. I mean, every time I do coordinate with them, and they're always very good about it, about us using their space. I definitely just want to give them a good shout out as well for always allowing being good host for us to use that event.
Oh yeah, they are the nicest people and they always they love hosting the event. They think it's amazing. So they're always willing to help us. So it's really great. If nobody has anything else to add, I'll move on to the next order of business, which is new business, and that's the community tag sale. Greg, did you want to say anything specifically about this, or are we just going over advertising for this?
Sure, that's part of it, but again, I do just want to just kick off by saying again, quick reminder, everybody here and whoever will be watching this later is that the date is going to be July 27th. And again, the gist of how it works, at least how we've done the last couple of years, is that again, you use your own personal address. However, there is an option. I'll let Bridget really get into this because this is really more, but she's more involved in, is that if you cannot use your own address because again, some of the HOAs do not allow it for you to use your own address, or if for whatever reason you don't want to, there is an alternative option that's Bridget's been has been very good about getting another option for the residents who need to use something different, which is a 62 Bowman Avenue. But I'll let Bridget, if you can just talk to that a little bit more for those who need that.
Yeah, so 62 Bowman Avenue is a nonprofit. It's Forever Families Through Adoption. So they have a really big lot in the back, and they also have spaces in the front that they'll rent out for a suggested donation. It's usually around $30. And they have said that they will participate again this year after I ask them. So people that live in co-ops, apartments, HOAs, which a lot of people in Rye Brook in particular do, can rent a space there and sell whatever kind of goods from their house they want to sell. So it's a nice option for that because we always get people asking well, my HOA doesn't allow it. I know Robin, you always say there's so many people that contact us and well, can you tell them? It's unfortunately we can't really force the HOAs to allow it. We wish they would allow it, but that's their own choice. But people can at least rent the space if they want to. And it's not, a huge fee and it goes to a good cause. So we'll add that into our materials again as one of the options, but it just grows bigger and bigger. You know, it's still Port Chester and Rye Brook again. We're doing a lot of conjoined events, which I like, because I feel like it benefits all of us and we can do things together. And we've had more and more people sign up each year. And I think having the set date now that we've decided to do it, you know, what is it, the third Saturday of July? I think that'll be really good going forward to have a date that people can expect and, you know, plan on. And then we'll hopefully get even more people participating every year. And hopefully it won't be too hot.
I
Well-
just have the request for, as the Arbor's representative here, that we get that information out. I think that there will be a lot more people in the Arbors that would want to participate if they know that they can do it over on Bowman Avenue. And then maybe we'll get less of the bulk pickup that we're having right now in the Arbors. And that's, for those people who just joined the committee, that's how this all started. It was, I think, Ashley, actually, who said, once we went to weekly bulk pickup in Rye Brook, which is incredible. Frank, you remember that also, that the
She's
idea
very
was,
upset.
let's get people to sell or reuse, repurpose things. And then the tag sale idea really blossomed. So anyway, if you could get that information to me, Bridget, not just for the Arbors, I mean, we can go first, but not just for the Arbors, but you know, I can get that to our manager and he could blast it out. And I
Yeah.
know there's limited space.
Definitely. There is, but we've never had it where it's completely full. I'm sure hopefully at one point it will completely sell out where all the spaces are booked, but they have a big enough lot to where we could have up to like 20 spaces, I believe, last I counted, rented out. So
I think we could fill it. There's
yeah, I think, yeah,
250
I think
homes
if we
in the
had enough
Arbors alone.
advertising.
Yeah.
I know me and Greg had talked about, I'm creating some posters like for our planting event and other things. My goal is to have the posters for all those things done by the end of this weekend, because my goal for the tag sale is to really advertise it as soon as possible, you know, as often as we can, get it in the newspapers, get it on the media, you know, so that everyone can know about it, save the dates, and start planning for it. Because right now we have a good amount of time. It's May, it's not until July. So we're giving people a decent amount of time to prep. Last year, we didn't have as much time when we planned it. So I'd like to give people, like you said, time to gather things and, you know, not be throwing stuff out every week at bulk pickup, especially good stuff. When I see good stuff out there, oh my gosh, every time I'm always like, oh my God, no, like don't throw it out, you know? But I feel like people, it's just the easy thing. Like you said, if they come once a week, it's so easy to just like put it on the curb, you know? So hopefully we can get some more people selling things.
People were buying chairs. They were buying all these things.
Anything and everything almost.
Oh yeah, I was taking pictures and showing my daughters, one who lives in Pittsburgh and one in Chicago, and they're saying, "Oh, would you please take that out? I don't want to sell it." Oh, for goodness sake!
You're like, no.
So what did I learn?
Not to take photos. Yeah.
And I will say that the man is definitely there. And just bear with me, guys, because on my throat, I'm recovering from a bug. So for my new members, I typically don't sound like this, but um, I've been getting at least 1 or 2 emails a week from interested residents who ask me, "Are we having a tax sale?"
Yeah, I know it's starting. See, it's starting to get warm. Once it gets hot outside, people like their mind just goes back to the hot days of the tag sale. I do feel like we should like arrange to have like some sort of ice cream man drive around on that
That's a
day.
good idea, and we might even have some kids who can sell lemonade.
Yeah, I know. We should.
Cool.
Yeah, we should encourage people to do like lemonade stands, all that sort of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a great event. One of the good things, the reason why I love this event, not only for the eco-friendliness, but also for us, is that we don't have to do that much. Like it's nice. It
Yeah.
kind of runs itself. Greg has to do more than anybody.
Which is
He has
fine.
to
I don't
go
mind the
through all
work. I mean, I
emails.
want this thing to go
Yeah.
well.
But he
Thank
has
you.
he has to put all of these addresses onto the map. So the bigger the event is, the more work he has to do. But for the rest of us, it's fairly easy. But yeah, Greg is the one that actually takes the brunt, I think, of the work on this one. So we appreciate that. But it is an event that it's nice because we don't have to depend on a certain amount of people coming out or anything. It just kind of flows. So hopefully it'll be a nice big turnout. But we'll start advertising it soon, and I'll send everybody the posters hopefully the end of this weekend.
Yes, and then I also just start doing like at least posting in the residence page
Yeah.
as well.
Great.
At least
Great.
as a save the date, so that way if people have stuff they want to at least hold on to for that event, they can.
Exactly.
But it tells you a lot of people are already inquiring about it and they want to know. I think it shows you
Yes.
that people are happy and interested. So,
Yep. And I'll also reach out to News 12 again. I mean, last year, News 12 ran a story about it, like 30 seconds, although they didn't tell me anything. I found out because that somebody signed up from Orange County. So when I called her and asked her, she said, "Oh, I saw on News 12." Like, what are you talking about? News 12 didn't tell me anything. I mean, I found it, but I mean, I'm glad that they did. I'm happy. And if they want to run a larger piece, I'll reach out to them ahead of time. It's like if you want to come around, see some of the residences who are doing it, by all means, that's okay with me. I mean, so that's
yeah,
another option we have.
maybe we can contact Westmore News and the other ones too,
Yes.
just to see if they'll be willing to like do a piece about like, oh, this is now that it's been going on for a couple of years. I feel like it's like a good piece to talk about. Okay. So if nobody else has anything to add to that or any questions about it, I will move on to the next topic. So that's the butterfly garden at Village Hall. Greg, do you want to start with this one, or do
Actually,
you want me to
Jeremy
kind
had
of?
a question, I think.
Oh, go ahead. Greg.
Yeah, I did. What did you say was the address for the tag sale?
Okay, so it takes place at people's own residences, so they sign up on our map. But there's 60
Oh, I see.
Avenue is a location where you can actually rent a booth there. So if you didn't have a yard or you didn't have a place where you could do it, you could rent a booth there. And we've had people from the Bronx rent a booth, like all over. So it's not limited, like anyone can rent a booth at 62 Bowman if they want to sell items there.
Okay, so I'd say it depends for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions about the tag sale? Okay, perfect. I will move on to the butterfly garden at Village Hall. Greg, did you want to start with that, or do you want me to kind of go over what's happening?
Sure, I'll just do a quick one and then I'll kick it over to you because my voice is definitely
Yeah, no, go. Yeah.
is on fumes, but I'll just get through the basics of it. So again, I'm pretty sure pretty much all of you have been to at least Village Hall at least once. That little butterfly gardens, that little circle in front. So again, at least once a year, we try to put in fresh, native, pollinator-friendly plants to revitalize it. So on May 18th, we usually do about 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Now, there's a vendor I have in Long Island who she's very good. She works with a lot of local governments and she gives us good discounts and she always has good stock and supply. And so I just have to figure out pickup and I'll figure something out to get them ready for next Saturday. But the rest of it, I'll turn over to Bridget.
Yeah, so Greg covered that pretty well, but we are going to be revitalizing it. We would love to have some more volunteers for this event and also people that are willing to help maintain it throughout the year. That's been a continuing issue with any of the gardens we do, and why we don't have more pollinator gardens is just the maintenance on them is very high. Taking out invasive species, making sure, when we have a piece like the pollinator circle in front of Village Hall, it needs to stay looking nice. So just maintaining it with that, because the gardening crew doesn't necessarily know which plants are which and like how they should treat them, because these are different than the plants that they normally deal with. So we do need some people who can hopefully do that. So maybe we can advertise more for that or get some volunteers in the future that want to help with maintaining it. But we will be planting on the 18th in the morning. So anybody that wants to join us is more than welcome to, and just kind of weeding and like refreshing the space.
Yeah, and I'll just add this as well too. I mean, this year we have a lot of weeds that are going in based on the time we're doing it in May. So definitely, if as many hands as we can have will be beneficial, because the more hands we have, the quicker it'll get done. And this year probably will take at least this time will probably take a little bit longer than we've the last few times we've done this.
You have to bring any sort of equipment with you,
If you
No.
want to bring like your own tools, you can. I mean, I always get a
but if you don't have any, it's okay.
No, you don't have to bring anything. We
But
have
it can-
gloves, we have everything.
Yeah, but if you want to bring some of your own tools, if you're more comfortable with that, that's totally fine. Yeah, I always have as the highway crew, they come with them. You guys, they come with mulch, and then they come with some tools as well. But if you want to bring your own too, if you're more comfortable with that, that's totally okay as well.
We
Yeah.
may-
At what time?
Sorry.
What time is the planting?
You know, usually at 9 to 11, so that way if we do it early in the morning, so that way everyone can enjoy their Saturday after that.
Okay.
But again, if you need to, you can only stay part of the time. If you can only stay or come early or later, that's fine as well. Whatever time you can come is fine. As I said, the more
And-
hands we have, the quicker we'll be done.
And Bridget, maybe we want to get organized as far as maybe involving roots and shoots.
Oh, they always get Greg usually is already on that. You already invited them.
Not so much for the planting, but as far as the maintenance.
I don't know that, and I'm not just from when I talked to I forget her
Julie.
name, Julie Hemsley. They're more interested in doing like some other kinds of projects versus like garden maintenance. From that's what she expressed. Like they want to do more like taking down invasive vines, things along those lines. And I don't want to speak for her totally, but this is just what she expressed to me that
Yes.
like that's one thing, but they have other projects in mind. So I don't think we can rely on them to do it. I think we really need like other people, like people from the community, a few gardeners, maybe even retirees that want to do it and join.
And we're gonna have to push for advertising for it.
Yeah. So I know like in Rye, they have like the certain gardeners that maintain public spaces, and it is mostly like retirees that do it on like a volunteer basis, but it's like finding the right people that want to do that once a month, or every other week or something. So we just have to kind of wait and see, and I put it out there a little bit more and see if anybody bites. But I guess that's like a future thing. For now, we'll just worry about getting the current place, getting it up to shape, and then hopefully we can recruit some more people that might want to help with that. So
Hopefully the heat doesn't kill the plants too. I mean, that's unfortunate,
Yeah.
but that's happened as well.
yeah. So we hope that the weather stays nice for it. I mean, it has been raining a lot, so things seem to be doing okay this year, better than last year. When we had, or the year before, I don't know if it was the year. No, it was last year when we had all of the.
2022.
Yeah,
all
that's
the
when
plants
everything
were done
died because it
within a
was like
month.
so hot that everything we planted just got scorched. But it hasn't been that bad this year. It's been more rainy than anything, so I think it'll be okay. Fingers crossed. Okay, so if nobody has anything else to add to that, I will move on to a few of our discussion items. So the first one is the Rye Brook birthday party. I'm gonna let Greg cover this one if you can. I know your voice is going. Because that's something that he more plans than I do. So I'm gonna let you take it from here with that one.
Yes, I'll start it off and then I'll actually kick it over to Robin because Robin has some ideas that she wanted to bring up. So the first thing is just that remember every year, I mean, not that any of you here don't know this already, but every year we have a Rye Brook birthday in honor of the founding of Rye Brook. And that's always the day before Father's Day. So it's June 15th this year. But now one thing I do want to let everybody know, because I know not everybody knows this yet, is that actually most people don't yet. We'll start promoting that out soon because we finalized the decision just like a week ago. Is that we usually have it at Crawford Park, but this year we're not doing that. And that's the reason is because Crawford Park is revitalizing their fields. So we don't want the space to do it. So this year we're going to have to utilize the King Street field. So we'll use the schools and hopefully 900 King Street. We'll use that for parking. But we have there's always an option for this committee to have a table there if we can get people to man it. Now I will definitely be at the birthday from beginning to end, which is it's right now, unless things change, we'll keep it at a regular 12 to 4 time slot. But that's pretty much the basic gist. And then we can any further ideas after that, though, I'll throw back to you guys if you have any suggestions, ideas. I'll start with Robin because I know that she's has some stuff that she wanted to mention. She's told me.
Yes, we actually were talking about it a bit at the reception, the Ashley Weldy reception at the end of the day. And I was asking them for at Crawford Park for a compost bin because Ashley always manned, so to speak, the compost bin, but they didn't have anything to collect. And then I started to talk to Paul, who's the
He's the
head
foreman. He's the DPW, our DPW foreman. He's also the one that
for our
runs
village.
all the events.
And he will be at the Rye Brook birthday party. The guys will come and they'll help set up the booths. They'll put out garbage cans, but we couldn't come up with an exact solution at first for how to do composting because they don't have compost bins at the village hall that portable compost bins. They just have the ones that collect the compost when you bring it there. And after a bit of back and forth, we thought if Greg would help us, we could set up a couple of tables with those green bins that we haven't sold yet and bags that the village sells. And we can take turns volunteering to put maybe a table up near where the food is going to be. The food is going to be up at the top, where the bus garage is. Right across from that is a grassy area. That's where they had the portable when they were doing the construction on that grassy area. The grills and all the cooking and the food will be there, and there'll be a separate tent where people can eat. There'll be picnic tables. So that might be one place to collect composting. And also maybe we could have another table with a couple of compost bins and bags near our booth, our sustainability booth, which will be down on the field. And Paul said at the end of the day, if we collect it and bag it in those compost bins, that we can put them all into one garbage bin that he could provide. And then he'll bring that back. He and the guys will bring that back up to the village hall at the end with the garbage and dispose of it in the compost bin. So again, the whole idea was to have, how are we going to collect the compost? And that was the idea that we came up with. So I don't know if that's possible that we could get, even if we don't have the green bins, even if we just have the bags, although they're kind of flimsy. So the bags and some kind of a receptacle to put the bags in. That was the idea that we came up with.
I mean, I'll just give my first comments. I mean, I think it's interesting, but it's definitely something that
Messy, yes.
no, but I like the thought behind it. And again, it's not something we've done before, so I like that. And again, there's a lot of food, I mean, being prepared at the birthday, so it's definitely something that I personally find interesting. So it's definitely something that I definitely want to have a conversation with Chris about how we can potentially go about that.
Yeah, I think that would be great if we could somehow do composting, get past the barriers that would be involved. I think what Ashley had said before, I remember her saying, she's like, you pretty much have to have somebody standing there, like helping people, because unfortunately, like a lot of people don't understand composting or they aren't patient enough to like separate out things. So you inevitably, if you don't have somebody there helping, you end up getting trash into the compost and then you can't use it. So it's like you have to kind of have somebody helping. And that had been the barrier we had before, was we never had enough people really to like actually man the composting area. And so if we can get people to help with that, then I think it would be very successful, and it'd also be an opportunity to tell people about composting, and like, hey, did you know that Rye Brook has a composting program? You can do this at your own home too, if you don't
And
want to.
teaching about it. So when you don't eat that whole burger, don't throw that in the garbage, throw that in the bag. And also it's an opportunity for people to see that if you lift that compost bag, it's really heavy.
Yeah,
As
maybe
opposed to when you throw it in the garbage, you're making your garbage very heavy. It's just a good teaching opportunity. Even if we only do a little bit and we have something down by the table where we'll be stationed, I think it would be a good start. I think the most important thing that we would need, Greg, are the bags.
And I think we can make like a nice sign that says like Rye Brook compost and like, compost your food scraps here and like make it so that it gets people excited to like come over. Okay, I'm gonna, put my stuff here, put it next to the other trash bins and say, hey, don't throw that in the trash. Let's put it in the compost. And, like you said, it's a teaching opportunity. It's a teaching moment. So hopefully people are like, oh, I didn't even know Rye Brook did this. So they like, here's a pamphlet, whatever. So get people to sign up for it. Or maybe we can even have QR codes so people can scan their phones, like buy a compost kit from the village or something.
We did have a sign-up sheet for buying the bins the last time, right, Greg? That people signed up, or did
We
they?
did. I don't think we got really any takers, to be honest, but that is an option that we could have, but we just got to find ways to promote it more.
Yeah, I feel like we need to make it as easy as possible for people to sign up and like purchase a kit. So if we had like a QR code that went to, or somehow was a way to like very easily buy it versus like going through a bunch of steps. Because I feel like if you make too many steps for people, they're just like, especially at an event where they want to do other things, it's just
We
too
can
much.
also, I have, and other people in the committee might have, I have paper bags that we can put the compost bag into to show people, you don't even have to buy that bin. You could just buy the compostable bags. And I don't even know if you can get them any other place like Costco or things like that. If you think it's too expensive to buy it from the village, I don't know. But if we just I could bring bags and we can have the compost bags there. It's just a matter of where are the people throwing out their food? And are we using compostable plates?
Yeah, so that's I know at Ashley Weldy's Ashley Weldy Day, that was one of the things. It's like if we are doing composting, it's nice to have everyone on the same page and like have compostable plates, compostable that like those sorts of things, so that we can compost as much as possible, versus trying to separate everything out. So I don't know who decides that for the birthday event, but of course,
Well,
if they can.
Well, Greg, you're gonna see if we can even provide bags, right? And a table for that.
No, I could also say, sorry, guy. I could also again get us a meeting with Chris too. I want to get if you can join us, Robin, that'd be great. Any of his ideas, also with Paul Vinci. Those are the two men we should speak to about this first.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect.
And you were gonna maybe loan us your pot maker and we can bring newspaper and make and teach people when they come by how to make their own little seed
Yeah,
pots.
and I'm sure also like and I can bring back, and we have a little seed packet still that we can give away and everything. So maybe if we got like a bag of dirt, like people could literally like plant some like wildflowers to like take to their garden or whatever. But yeah, I can definitely loan that out, and maybe we could even buy some, like a few of them from the budget, because they're only like $15 a piece. They're not super expensive. So if you wanted to have like a table, like as an activity,
I think that would
people
be a
could
great
like,
activity. Everyone was loving making
yeah,
pots. The kids of all ages were loving making the pots from the newspaper or the paper that we had, but we think newspaper will make a better pot.
yeah, newspaper is kind of the easiest, the best one to use. And we could even have like, if people wanted to decorate theirs or whatever, we could do like some eco-friendly like markers or something, for
I don't
that.
know
But
about
I
the
think
art stuff. The A in STEAM was always out for me.
you're like, we're just making that, yeah. Maybe we'll just make it simple. If it goes really well this time, then we can add embellishment later. Let's see. Yeah, first things first. No, but I think we can definitely have the pot making thing as part of it.
How many of us can make it to the Rye Brook birthday party? I know I
I
can.
have to say that
You
day
have
is
your
always hard
anniversary.
for me. Because it's on, isn't it on the
The 15th, the day
yeah.
before, yeah.
Yeah, so I have to see. Because the 13th is my anniversary, so we almost always end up doing something that day, and that's why it always conflicts. That's why I've never been able to make it before.
Lana did it with me last year, Jeremy, no pressure, but you know, she made a really good impression.
Oh God. Yeah.
Any other ideas anybody has though too? And again, I mean, no idea is a bad one. We may not be able to act on all of them, but at least if you have some ideas, it's at least
For
they're
the
all,
birthday?
yeah. Not just, damn, my voice is really giving out, not just their birthday, but even
You can
for,
type
even
it
for
into the
events.
chat, Greg, if you need to. Yeah.
I'm coming to do the worst of it, so it's okay. But not just for the birthday, but even for other events too. Again, I'm open to anything. I don't care really how much work I have to do. But if you have any other ideas for any future events, I mean, as long as you're of course willing to help man them, you know, I would do myself.
Yeah, that's the key, right? And that leads into our next one. Our next agenda item. Okay. So yes, birthday party. Any ideas? I think, like I said, I have the flower packets. If we want to give those away. I know we had talked about doing that before. I think we had done that the last birthday party. So we can definitely I can give you the whole box with like all the stuff, Robin, if I can't make it. If I can make it, I will be there. But assuming I can't for some reason, then I will make sure you have all the seeds and the pot maker. And I think you said you can get newspaper, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you should be set on that.
And I can't even count on my husband because he does the grilling.
Oh yeah, so he's at least have one person. Great.
But yeah, we'll need some more help at the table. And
Yeah, especially if you want to do composting and an activity, we'll need like at least 2-3 people. So yeah, that'll be best.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some people to commit to that. And I'll know a little bit closer if I can. And like I said, if I can be there, I will. I just don't want to commit to it now and then not be able to do it and have to back out. So I'll let you know as soon as I can. So if nobody else wants to add anything to the birthday party, the next order of business is the last order of business. Go
Just
ahead.
one
Sorry.
second. This might sound like a little bit of a silly idea, but is there already cake provided at the party?
Yes.
Oh,
Because it's
yes.
a birthday.
Yeah. The birthday always
Yes.
Oh, okay.
always cake and ice cream.
Okay, I was
There
just
is
checking.
cake,
Yeah.
ice cream, snow cones, cotton candy,
Wow.
and I think popcorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And food, like actual non-dessert food too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there's like a nominal fee, like per
$5.
address, $3, $5, where you can get like a hamburger or a hot dog and chips and stuff like that.
Watermelon,
Watermelon too.
soda.
Mhm.
Yeah, but everything else is no cost. An event like this one is pretty much funded by sponsors. So this is an event that pretty much is mostly outside of like a small fee cost for food is pretty much all free.
So if
Yep.
you're hungry, make it to the Rye Brook birthday because we'll have everything. Okay. Yeah, it sounds amazing. I mean, I do want to go one day. So I'm like, this sounds epic, you know. And I've heard, is there like a bounce house? There's like all sorts of stuff.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it's really nice. I think the town does a great job.
Yeah.
So too.
We spend months planning it, and our recreation department in particular, they work their tails off for it.
Yep. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks everybody for offering to help with that. And okay, hopefully I can make it. Now that everybody's like talked it up, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm missing out. I want cotton candy and popcorn and stuff.
There used to be bingo, but I don't know what
That
happened.
considered gambling though. I feel like that maybe that's where
Was
I know
that the problem? I don't know.
No, speaking of which, remember on the 27th, I just want to mention that too. On the 27th,
casino night.
we are having, yes, that casino night event right after the tax sale from like 7 to 10, give or take.
This is how we'll get people. You do the tag sale with casino night, and then you
Yes.
transition.
That'll also be on the King Street field. So the birthday
Yeah.
will be fun running an event there.
That's on, oh, that's July 27th? That's on,
Yes. But that's in the evening, as it was 7 to 10, so it doesn't conflict with the tag sale. But it's something different because all the events we typically do are for kids. So we wanted to do something for the older crowd, which includes all of us, including Jeremy as the youngest one. Well, not Jeremy. Jeremy's too young.
Chair. Now, you see, we almost had him at the Rye Brook birthday party. And now you gotta tell us something.
Yeah, you have to be at least 21 to get into this event, right? That's the idea that we've discussed.
Right.
Wow. Well, that sounds fun too. Okay. So the next order of business is future meeting schedules. So as far as like the attendance with meetings and stuff, it has been going down where, our last meeting, we didn't have enough attendees to actually do the meeting. So we kind of unofficially chit-chatted for a while and then ended it early. So also with my own schedule, I talked to Robin a little bit about this, just like bounce ideas off of Robin and Greg. What I sort of came up with was doing a quarterly meeting, and having additional meetings as needed. And then potentially doing these meetings in person versus via Zoom. I don't know if we would change the time or keep it to the same time, depending on when people are available. But, trying to get more engagement in that way so that, if we only do 4 or 5 meetings a year, they're all very important and they go over the topics and, we set things up, finish them at the meeting and, do everything else via email. So I don't know if anybody else has any input on that or thoughts. As of right now, we're meeting once a month. That's the current schedule. The first Thursday of every month. We meet more than really any other committee, I believe. I don't know if Greg you can nod or shake your head if you can't talk. Do we meet more than most other committees? I think we do.
So that's pretty much is the standards once a month.
Okay.
Not just for Rye Brook, pretty much all municipalities they're non-advisory or advisory committees because we're not like the planning board or zoning, which is subject to the open meetings law. They meet once a month, but they have to. But for a committee like ours, which is advisory, we can meet however often we want. Traffic tends to meet when needed, to my understanding. But like airport or like recreation, they do also meet monthly, every single month.
Okay, so I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on it. I mean, we can try it. We can always change the schedule. It's not set in stone. It's not one of those things. We used to, before the pandemic, we always met in person. That was just the standard. And then once the pandemic happened, of course, we went to Zoom and we kind of just stuck to that. Which I think it has like good aspects to it. I also think it makes it a little more casual. And when we did have the meetings in person, Robin, I know you were one of the ones. I know Michael. Is Michael here tonight? No, okay. When we did have the meetings in person, Rob and Michael were there. We pretty much everyone always showed up for them. We really got decent turnout with that. So I can't say that was the reason, of course, but it did seem to work. And Robin, I don't know if you have any input on that, like of the differences and how you felt one works versus the other, but
I think everyone has experienced the difference between Zoom meetings, whether it's for work or committees, and being in person. There's nothing that is as good as meeting in person. But considering I live right next door, I was one of the people who voted for Zoom. It's just, you could just, roll upstairs or wherever you are and turn it on, and there's that convenience of it.
Maybe an idea is we have 4 in-person meetings and any additional meetings can be done via Zoom. Like maybe we could do it that way. Like we have the quarterly meetings that are all in person. And then if we need to add one on because we have, we have too much on the agenda or whatever, we can do those via Zoom. I don't know if that would be a good compromise.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. I also think it helps get people involved a little bit more. Like when I joined the committee as a new member, there were a lot of old members, and I think it's easier to get involved when you're not via Zoom. It's just easier to talk when you don't have to like when it's not on camera, maybe, to like share ideas. So maybe we try it and just see what happens. Also selfishly, I'm just really busy. So, the quarterly schedule kind of helps. So for me, a little bit. But if anybody has other suggestions to like increase, activities and increase people's, I guess, joining our meetings and actually participating, we're always open to that. So because we do need more people to help man events. We have ideas, the ideas aren't really the problem. It's more getting the people power behind it because we just don't have enough people to really run all of these ideas. I mean, like the composting and doing all of that. So
Well, we
I think
talked about something that I think might be, correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but it might be kind of a village rule that you can't miss more than 2 meetings in a calendar. I don't know if it's, I still think in school years.
school year, yeah.
School year,
Yeah.
or
I don't know.
in order to stay on the committee, I don't know, if it matters, to your resume or whatever. But we talked about that there really needs to be a commitment to the meeting. We for the most part get a quorum for all of our meetings, but we should never have to worry about that. And we talked about that briefly. And also that perhaps we could all commit to doing at least one, if not 2, of the committee events during the year. And again, I don't know what anyone else thinks of a year. For me, a year is September to June. I think it always will be. But even our committee has often operated September.
Yeah, we
to-
have winter break. Yeah, you're right. We
And
do.
we take July and August off from meetings too, as well as December.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, Robin, you're right. We had talked about that. You are correct in that there are certain rules we could start enforcing. That's something that I've brought up with Greg, and that if people want to be members of the committee, there is a certain amount of engagement that's expected. One of those is to show up to at least as many meetings as you can. Obviously understand that like things happen. I can't even always be at all the meetings. It's like one of those things. But with the events, also saying, if everyone can do one event per year, that's not a whole lot, so even just helping with setting something up potentially, or cleaning something up afterwards. But we might need to start enforcing that just to make sure that like everyone that's on the committee is engaged and active. And because I think we do have a few members that I haven't seen in a while, and so hopefully we can get everyone involved again. I think that would be great, because I think, how many members do we have now, Greg? We have at least 10, I want to say.
Sorry, 9.
9, okay. So, but that's something we can discuss more and figure out, and maybe we move to that schedule, and then, like I said, we do Zooms in between if we want to add on, and we can decide at those meetings. But we can kind of vote if we want to on that, and do that via email and see if everyone wants to go to a certain schedule, and if decide the dates at that point. So
Yeah,
and that was the last item on the agenda. Oh, go ahead, Greg.
yeah, it also depends on like what topics we're covering. Like I know last year we're doing the leaf blower law. We were incredibly busy, like every meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if we have ideas like that or that we want to bring up and discuss, I mean, obviously those are things that I think help engagement. I know like there's something I wanted to mention, like green building.
So we are doing a task force, and we do have, we're gonna start that soon, whenever the mayor gives us the okay, but we do have like a couple members of the planning board. You know, Debbie Friedman, she's not here tonight, she's gonna be on it. And we're gonna have some village staff, including myself, that'll be on it. So that's just an idea of like other topics that maybe this committee can discuss, and I think leaf blowers is one, another one that just drives engagement from the members.
Mhm. Yeah, and that would be the great thing is like we can always add on if we need to. I'm not saying that we'll only ever have 4 meetings a year. I'm saying that will be the minimum, and then we can add on as needed. You know, when we have the quarterly meeting, we can say, okay, do we think we need to meet before 3 months from now? And we can decide at that point, yes, we need another meeting, or let's do this via email or whatever, you know. So we'll just have to, I guess, play it by ear and see how that goes. And if it ends up that we need, you know, to do 6 meetings a year or whatever, we can just decide that at that time. And like you said, we always took winter break off anyways. We sometimes took like part of the summer off. Like Greg was saying, August is kind of normal for us to take off because everybody's traveling and stuff. So we do have some time off coming soon. But it's just something to think about, like what kind of schedule and if we would want to go to in person for a few of the meetings for the future. So, Greg, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we adjourn this
Nope.
meeting? Okay.
Just, if anybody wants to say any comments or anything, that's what only thing I was gonna say.
Oh, I
Okay.
have a question.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I'm a big compost person. I'm always dropping it off every week or twice a week. And I noticed how I drove past City of Rye's compost area, and they have great bins compared to our bins. I don't know if there's a possibility of, I don't know what the budget is, but theirs have locks on the top. And for me, I've had an issue, and I know there are other residents in the town who the reason why they don't compost is because of the animals and the bugs, especially in the summertime when it gets really hot. And I feel like that alone, the lock that they have on their bins, could maybe solve a lot of that issue. I don't know, because I've had raccoons jump out at me when I dropped off my compost. And I don't know if something like that could be beneficial.
Yeah.
Is it a latch or a lock?
Yeah, it's awesome. There are these.
It's a lock, like you have to use a key?
No. It's like a little turn latch that, it just pops open. And as soon as it shuts, it locks.
So it's built into the trash can. They haven't added it. It's like made as part of
it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like made like that. I took a picture because I was like, this is great. I think it could help with our compost area. I don't know how much the bins cost, but
do you know if they have had less problems with the animals? The maggots apparently are necessary.
You definitely would have less problems. I know this because as a wasp.
We don't need raccoons in there, but we
no, and the you don't have to have the maggots either. The compost site, they deal with all that. They compost it, so it can be in the state that it's in, but you would definitely have a lot less animal issues. I always encourage people to put locks on their trash bins. Because you will get animals that especially when it's all food in there, like that's like a raccoon's dream, that's a bear's dream. Like they love that kind of stuff. It really should be locked. I totally agree with you. The issue is I think Greg would probably say the issue is going to be we have a contract. So I don't think we actually own those bins. I think it's from whoever we contract to do that. I'm pretty sure they provide the bins. So maybe we can contact them to see if there's an option to like switch out the bins. But it might be that whoever we use just uses that kind. But I do know you can add on locks to the bins. I don't know if they'd be willing to let us do that. But Greg, do we own those bins or do we rent them?
That I'm not sure of because that was done before I got here. We'll have to check the records, the contract that we have.
Yeah.
It's a new vendor when I started. It's a different company that took it over. It was on the county contract. That's why. Through Westchester County. So that's something I'll have to look into. Now, I will just say one of the main problems is that people put stuff in there they shouldn't be putting in there. Because I know Chris actually and I, one time we cleaned it ourselves. We rinsed everything out. And then a couple weeks later, it was all disgusting again. So
Oh,
we try the best that we can to keep it clean. But again, the main thing is that don't put stuff in there that shouldn't be in there. And that would actually go a long way to solving the problem.
but
Yeah.
what would people put?
Well, the foods that don't belong there. And then that's how you get like raccoons and all these animals and maggots.
But you can put almost every kind of food in there.
Yeah.
It
So I
says
don't know what food you wouldn't put in there.
and whatever it
Because I
was.
think you can put meat, you can put shellfish, like the shells, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, it only gets picked up once a week. That's I think another part of the problem. That's something that's out of our hands.
Yeah, we've had a lot of
I
discussions.
do wonder, I like Alicia's idea. I like the latch.
That's
Yeah,
something
no,
we
they
could
were.
always add on if, I mean, the problem I guess is if it's not automated, like automatically, the issue is getting people to like use it correctly if we do it as an add-on. So I really think we'd probably need to like have the same sort of design where it's automatic that it does it and that we don't have to like, because the ones that the locks that I know of that you can add on, it's like you have to intentionally like pull it back and like put it on and lock it again. It's not just like closing the lid. And I know that people will just be like, oh, okay, well, and they walk away.
I wouldn't mind seeing that picture though, that you took.
Yeah, if I can send it, I'll send it to the group. Because it was great. Like they were so clean, and I don't know who maintains
Wow.
their
And I
bins,
will
but it was
say,
inspiring. I was like, oh, I wish ours were
Yeah.
maintained like
they,
that.
yeah, they're living the dream over there. And they have a much larger budget than us. That's
Yeah.
undoubtable. They also do like they were able to do curbside and all that sort of stuff. And also the location of the one that they have is amazing. It's like right off of the main road, and so it's nice because everybody can see it, and it's like in a very easy place to just like pull up and leave. So they did a really good job on that. And it probably gets picked up like 4 times a week or something. It's probably super clean compared to ours. I know there's probably people that like are like, I'm gonna go to that one instead. But
Well, it's very convenient. Yeah.
yeah, it's very convenient. And different sides of town, depending on where you live. I know we had talked about like doing a cart corral at one point, and that was supposed to be built, but it never happened. Like the location never got moved. So that never happened. But I feel like, yeah, maybe the least that we could do is try to get some locks or like something on it to help with animals and stuff, because
Maybe
you can't.
that could be a topic on the agenda. It seems like it's a pretty important thing to this committee.
Yeah, we can definitely put that on the agenda. I think the first step is just finding out what our compost contract will allow us to do, because we can have a lot of ideas, but if they are like, no, we're locked into that because it's really up to them.
And then
If
we
they
need to
wanna-
look at vendors.
I'm not sure. I don't know like how much goes into them signing the contracts with that, but we definitely could look into it and see. I know it was kind of like a big deal trying to do the whole thing in the first place, and that it's not cheap to get it contracted out. I think we literally only had, from what I remember, and Robin, you might remember this too. I think this company was the only one that had like agreed to actually do our composting. So we didn't really have a choice. It was like we got one, like they quoted it out where you put it out to a bunch of different people,
RFP.
and only one of them took it. So like there wasn't a choice of like 5 different places. It was like one place that we had a choice of.
Well, I don't remember all that, but if other people are interested also, that might be a good thing for us to learn about, Greg.
No, I'll look.
That
I'll I'll take a look at it.
Maybe you
myself.
could just let us know a little bit more about that. And also revisit why we can't have curbside pickup, which people are still asking me about.
It's
I know.
We just
Chris-
have to know what to say.
it's
No.
the expense of it is a lot. I know Chris looked into it before too, and I spoke about it with him briefly, but he said it's just way too expensive.
I just
I
think
had heard,
we should ask.
yeah, I had heard from Jason Klein that it's about the amount of compost that we produce as a town, that we don't have enough participation in order to make it curbside. That if we had enough, where they were finding that every week when they pick it up, that we had, I don't know, however many pounds that is qualifies for a curbside pickup, then they would consider, because he was trying himself, because I know that they compost, and he was like, I've been trying for a long time, but unless I'm able to show that we have that amount of participation as a town, it's not going to be possible. So I don't know how to get more of the community into it, because I'm a big composter.
Yeah.
Does
we
it
are
need to
too.
be? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ron.
No, I was agreeing.
Oh, I was going to say, does it need to be limited to Rye Brook? Can we pool villages together to get that
Yeah, I
volume
think that they
necessary?
were looking to participate with Portchester.
But
If
that's
we
what
were
I was
Portchester
able to.
already does. They already use our compost station.
Yeah, so
Oh, really?
we have an IMA with them with Worcester that their residents can use our compost and our residents can drop off electronic waste at their facility at Fox Island.
But I know with Rye, for instance, and I don't know if this actually even took off for them. I know one of my friends had the option to do curbside compost in Rye, and she signed up for it. They did charge them a fee. I believe it was like $20 or something a month or something like that. And if you wanted to participate in the program, and they did it as like a trial run where they did certain parts of the community, and then if it went well, they were going to add on. But they did that for a while, so they did charge them, so it's not like a free service. But I do know, like Greg was like, you have to have enough participation, like Alicia was saying, in order to make it happen, because otherwise it's not worth it for these compost companies that do curbside to do pickup, because if there's only 15 houses, they're not making any money. So we'd have to have enough people that would want to sign up for it and want to actually participate in it. So maybe we just
Can we explore a questionnaire to the village, in asking folks who would be interested in doing a compost scenario? At least we know we'll get to know the volume that potentially could commit to something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, no, I don't see why we can't bring that up.
Yeah, and I know there are people like myself and stuff that like I compost at home. I know there are people that also, if it's inconvenient, they're not going to do it. So they're like, I would participate if it was curbside, but I'm not going to participate if I have to go and drop it off. So there's
Right.
always like that differential of people that won't use the village hall drop off, but maybe would use a curbside compost. So
Yes.
we just have to see. And maybe doing like a some sort of questionnaire, like you were saying, or some sort of like pre-sign up, like, hey, if we did do curbside, would you want to take part? If so, put your information here or whatever, and you'll be the first to know about this initiative if and when it happens. I don't know. But we could think of some different ideas. Unfortunately, yeah, it is expensive. So that's the only thing that's stopping us right now. I mean, I'd love to even have more composting locations. It would just be a matter of, people using them and the budget. So I think it'd be nice. Oh, go ahead.
Doesn't the village, like, the more we compost, right, the less garbage there is, so the village does save money that way too, right?
Yes, that's true, because we pay by weight for the trash.
We pay by tonnage.
We pay by tonnage.
Yeah.
Just like with, I believe it's the same with curbside pickup too. We pay by space for that as well, right?
Yes, but like when we do like a regular sanitation or even like bulk, we have to pay extra every time they come out there. So that's why having the trucks on the road, that costs a significant more amount of money. But if we get more people, that's why we would, as Alicia said, we would need more people, but potentially make it more worthwhile for what we would pay to kind of cancel out like the additional cost.
I'm gonna reiterate an idea that I know Ashley had said many times, which was do less bulk and do more of like more composting, more others, like trying to add that in. I mean, I honestly think bulk once a week is excessive. I think it's encouraging people to create more waste than is necessary. I mean, I've never lived anywhere that's had bulk once a week. I don't know if this is like a normal thing
No.
now, but it just seems crazy that people like have a couch every week to throw. Like that's like the size of things I'm seeing out there. And so,
lot
and a
of
lot of these things
furniture.
are like nice. They're not trash. Like it's like nice stuff.
Let me tell you what town we don't get that. You guys have it pretty good in Rye Brook that you guys get garbage 2 times a week. The Arbors has a private pickup on the third on a third
Wow.
time.
Yeah,
You guys get
I
bulk once a week, and there's green waste once a week except holidays.
yeah, I do
I've
feel
never
like
lived anywhere with garbage twice a week. Like it's unheard of. I'm not from around here. My family thinks it's insane.
yeah, I mean
Doesn't
so I
that
do
cost
think-
us more money? Like, wouldn't we
yeah,
save money by cutting and going to once a week?
Yeah, but
yeah.
it's whatever the village wants. It all depends on how you negotiate how the bids come in for the contracts. So we have to do it by bidder. And those sanitation contracts a little bit different because this is a county commission that we have to get approved for that's to approve our contracts too regarding sanitation. That I don't think necessarily would apply to I'm not really sure to be honest, but I don't know how it would apply to like a curbside pickup for food waste. But and to be quite honest, the reason why we have to get it approved by the county like sanitation commission is because of history of organized crime infiltrating sanitation companies. So that's like that's a brutally honest answer, but yeah, but that's been the tradition here in Rye Brook is again garbage twice a week, green waste once a week, bulk once a week, and also recycling at least once a week too.
Yeah, I maybe that's something we could tackle in the future is like saying, hey, let's do less of this and more of this. You know, like let's change once the contract is up, let's argue to do more of certain things and less of other things because I do think that we could cut back on some stuff. I also think it's a small percentage of people that are taking advantage all the time of like bulk pickup and things like that. I think it'd be fine if it was less often, as long as people are aware of when it is, and that they can put it out on certain days, you know. But I guess that's a road to cross once we get there. But for now, we can just think about it. And
I think if people knew how much we were paying for bulk pickup every week,
yeah.
it could have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a way to find out what the cost would be? Like if we did composting pickup once a week versus bulk every week, you know, financially, does it
It
make
would
sense?
be under a separate, probably a separate vendor that we have because the CRP is our sanitation thing. So it would probably be a separate vendor if we would ever do like curbside for like food composting. But like I said, it's something for us to look into deeper, at least a questionnaire, or at least to see
Yeah.
how much interest really will we get out there. That's at least a good place to start.
I do think people would respond to that because I remember a few years ago when we switched to because they used to come and take your garbage. Remember that? That was our old contract. You didn't have to put your garbage cans out. And when they switched, and a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, I don't want to have to put my garbage can out." But then when they publicized how much it cost the village, people were like, "I'm happy to put my garbage can out," right? Because they understood that there was an associated cost with that. And I think if you don't explain that, like that helps. Listen, again, as you said earlier, like you'll never make everyone happy, but I think money is a fantastic driver of people's habits. And if you're explaining to them that it's costing us this much money, and maybe we could save some of that.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, because I don't know what the costs are, but that might be one way to try and cut back on some of this.
Yeah, exactly. If we can make it fiscally make sense, I think it's possible. So if we can get those numbers, that would be amazing. I know we've had them before at some point, but I think that was before the contract changed to this latest one. So it's probably different now. So we'd have to find that out. But I'm sure Greg can get us that at some point and we can look over it and see. And then maybe see what the contract is with the composting. I feel like we can just ask them some questions on what they might be willing to change or do for us to help with, mitigating some of the wildlife, getting into the containers and things. I feel like it'd be pretty reasonable to ask for containers that lock. So maybe they can do that for us sooner than later before it gets really hot outside.
Yes.
We'll try, we'll see what happens. So thanks for bringing that up. So that was the last item on the agenda. If nobody else has anything to add, I will adjourn the meeting. Let me know. Thank you everyone for attending. We will announce when the next date is. I know the schedule is kind of like up in the air. But I think we'll do that hopefully via email. And then we can all agree together on when we want the next meeting to be and if we want it to be in person or via Zoom. Okay. So nice meeting everyone. Thank you to all the new people that have joined us. We appreciate you coming and giving your input. And hopefully maybe we'll see each other in person next time. Bye. Good night.
That'd be great.
Night,
Have a good night,
everybody.
guys.
Feel better,
night.
Greg.
Thank you.